Well, hello again. This is, as if you didn't know, uh, the Midnight Skeptic, and the radio version and the worldwide version on KPCA.FM will be broadcast this coming Sunday, um, the 25th of August, at 9 p.m., the usual time, Pacific Standard Time. And 103.3 FM locally it'll be broadcast from Petaluma Community Access Studios downtown Petaluma here. And I'm recording this latest rant of the Midnight Skeptic on Thursday. That's today. And it's the 22nd, the last day of the Democratic National Convention. Okay, I'll talk about that in a moment, but this is kind of a throat clearing time, so I hope I don't ruin the rant very much by my constant clearing of my throat. I have my coffee with a scoop of vanilla ice cream in it, as usual in the mornings, and I have my water. It's from Work Petaluma, which is still in business downtown Petaluma. Okay. A lot of this rant will be just a kind of a riff on everything that I've been thinking about the last couple of days, watching the Democratic National Convention, and I haven't just sat down and watched it end to end. I see parts of it, and I rely a lot on what I call my lefty propaganda shows, MSNBC, with Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes and the other gang members that come on to quote unquote analyze what's gone on and what we've just seen. Okay. I was most impressed by Tim Walz, WALZ. He is the governor of Minnesota, and he is the nominee for vice president. And they will win. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will win. I've never been more sure of anything in my life than that. And it fills me with joy, for want of a better term. I'm more optimistic about this country's future than I kind of ever have been. The orange sociopathic bloat bag and his MAGA followers will probably claim that the election was rigged, and they're going to try to keep down the voting in as many states as they can through court action and getting people off the voter rolls, as many as they can, because they know that the more that people vote, the less of the voters will vote for them. Okay. And I was really touched when the camera panned into the audience when Governor Walz was up on the stage giving his acceptance speech. It focused on his son, and his son is named Gus, and he was moved to tears, and you could kind of read his lips. He was talking to this lady that was sitting next to him, who I don't know who she was, but he said, "That's my dad." And he was in tears, and I was really moved by that. And his sister, Hope, was sitting next to him on the other side of him. And it was really a wake up moment about what a great guy Tim Walz is. He might emerge from all of this as America's dad. Okay. And he's such a Midwestern guy. And on last week's show, and I think the show before that, I mentioned Trey Crowder, who's a comedian, and he bills himself as the redneck liberal. And I stumbled across a YouTube presentation, and he does a lot of his shows sitting in the front seat of this car, or maybe it's a pickup, I'm not sure. But he did a bit on Tim Walz that was just priceless. I urge all of my listeners to go to YouTube and Google Trey Crowder, Tim Walz. It's a great bit. Okay, and also Tim Walz was Coach Walz, a football coach, for a while at the high school. And one of his teams, I'm not sure of which ones, but they won the state championship. And I guess it was about 15 or 20 of his players who are now in their late 30s, early 40s, came up on stage and in their old jerseys. And I thought that was great. Kind of hokey, but it was great. They all worshiped him as Coach Walz, and they were happy and full of joy as well. And I'm sure that the Republicans will find some way to make fun of it or, be Debbie Downers about the whole thing, but just ignore them. And football is so equated with masculinity in the eyes of Republicans, and this was great. And it is. Football is a good sport. I never played myself, but I played basketball and I wrestled. Those were my two sports. And so this is a good kind of masculinity on display for the whole country to see. Coach Walz and his team and his son and his daughter, all of them contributing to this image that Coach Walz is a great guy, a compassionate guy. He was also the faculty advisor for the Gay Straight Alliance, which this was back in the late 90s, and not many gay kids came out of the closet back then because they would be bullied by the mean-spirited students that would probably grow up to be Republicans. And one of his students back where he was teaching social studies came out to him because he trusted Coach Walz. And that led to Coach Walz becoming the faculty advisor to the Gay Straight Alliance, which I think the majority of high schools in this country now have a Gay Straight Alliance club. And we have one for sure in Petaluma High School and Casa Grande High School here. And I think it's a club for kids who have come out of the closet as members of the LGBTQ community and students who are their allies, who want to get to know them and help them in their struggles if they are struggling. Okay? All right. What other notes? The Obamas, 2008, President Obama was elected and changed the face of this country, electing our first black president, okay? And I know that a lot of the protests that cropped up concerning him were just, the people who participated in that were just out and out racists, especially the orange sociopathic bloat bag who started the birther movement. I don't think he started it, but he ran with it and went on talk shows and tried to convince the talk show hosts that he sent investigators over to Hawaii to check out his birth certificate. And I remember him saying on one talk show, and I don't remember what it was, "You wouldn't believe what they found over there." Well, the talk show host, whoever he or she was, let it go. Let that statement go. And they should be fired for letting it go. He should have said, "Well, tell us what they found." And he would have said something like, "I can't tell you right now because, I don't know, I'm going to have a book written about it, or it's going to be an article in New York Times or something like that." He would weasel out of it. Okay. And Joe Biden's speech on Monday, which was the first day of the Democratic National Convention, was a good speech. And Joe Biden is a good, patriotic man as our president. And I'm glad that he agreed to step aside in favor of Kamala Harris. He might have lost to the orange sociopathic bloat bag, and this country would not have survived another 4 years of that creep, plus his Project 2025 minions who would have tried to institute a lot of the horrible things that are in there. So it was a good speech, as good as Joe Biden could have given under the circumstances. Okay? After having said all that, here is my play-in music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, as I've said on almost all of my shows lately, in my own small way, meaning this broadcast and YouTube, I am trying to rid this country of all MAGA heads, conservatives, Republicans, GOPers, and the worshipers of the orange sociopathic blow bag and Christian nationalists and Christian fundamentalists, for that matter, whether or not they're nationalists. The two terms are essentially synonymous. Okay, I've said that, and there are some what I would call honorable Republicans, and they call themselves the Lincoln Project. And it was formed back when the orange sociopathic bloat bag first came down the elevator in Trump Tower. Those are Republicans who saw the handwriting on the wall and left the official Republican Party to form the Lincoln Project. And I'm not going to name them all right now. Actually, I can't remember them. I can't even remember one right now. I'll talk about the Lincoln Project on next week's rant. But they are honorable Republicans, which means that they have actual ideas and opinions about how this country should be run and what kind of a government they would prefer to have and what the relationship of the government to business should be. And they are capitalists, and they're champions of capitalism to a large extent. I myself am a democratic socialist, yay Bernie Sanders, and AOC. And if you have recorded any of the proceedings of the Democratic National Convention, you ought to check out AOC's speech at the convention. She is a coming star in the Democratic Party. Okay. And she calls herself a democratic socialist. Okay. But anyway, check her out. I've been a fan of her since she first came on the scene. And where was I? Okay. The Lincoln Project. They are essentially never Trumpers. And after all this mishigas is over with, I hope that if the worshipers of the orange sociopathic bloat bag just disappear, as I hope they do, and I'm giving it my best efforts to move that along, I hope they form the nucleus of a newer Republican Party. I'm not sure if they would call it the Republican Party anymore, but whatever they call it, the nucleus of another party in opposition to the Democratic Party. We do need a two-party system in this country. The Democrats, and I hope they are in power for, the next 20 years or so. But we do need opposing viewpoints in our government. And I hope the Lincoln Project is capable of providing that viewpoint. Okay. Let's see, did the play-in music? And, okay, shout outs. And there's one big shout out that I want to get out of the way first. And I always started off with Project Censored. Okay, well, congratulations to Mickey Huff, one of the three dudes that are involved with Project Censored. Um, Peter Phillips, who is retired now, he was one of the founders of Project Censored, and he was a professor at Sonoma State University. I think he was in the political science department. Anyway, his office was down the hall from the history department, where I kind of hung out back in 1999, 2000, 2001, 2. And, I'd go by his office. The door was usually open. And I would say, "Hi, Peter." I got to know him. But I could never remember his name on previous shows when Project Censored came up. Anyway, now the three dudes, Mickey Huff, Andy Lee Roth, and Nolan Higdon, are the three guys who keep Project Censored alive. But the reason I want to congratulate Mickey Huff of Project Censored, he has just accepted a position as distinguished director of the Park Center for Independent Media at Ithaca College in New York. It's right near Cornell. It's a Division III school. It's not associated with Cornell, and I don't know whether he's going to move back there or what. He and his wife and his two children are living, I'm not sure of the town, but it's up near Sacramento. And so I'm just not sure if he's going to move back there or not. Right at this moment, he's a professor of history at Diablo Valley College. Nolan Higdon is down at Cal State East Bay, and Andy Lee Roth is over at UC Santa Cruz. History professors, all of them. Okay, that's out of the way. And, well, go to Project Censored's website and order or just sign up for their newsletter. And every year they come out with a new book called The State of the Free Press, and whatever year it is. This one is 2024, and the State of the Free Press 2025 is at the printers as we speak. So, okay. John Crowley at the Aquas Cafe in the warehouse area in the southern part of Petaluma on 2nd and H, Foundry Wharf area. I always keep forgetting what they call that area too. But he has established a community of artists, poets, other nonprofit organizations that meet there at the Aquas Cafe, and they've got a very eclectic menu of light breakfast, lunch, and dinner fare. And I think they close at 7 or 8 when there's not something going on. They had a dinner for retired educators a couple of Thursdays ago, which I went to, and because I was I was a private tutor for 35 years here in Petaluma, and I wanted to see if some of the retired teachers that I knew from Casa Grande and Petaluma and St. Vincent's would show up, and they didn't. But I met some people there. And then also every couple of months, they have a event called Drinks with Shrinks. Ooh. psychotherapists come out of the woodwork and gather to, I don't know, analyze each other, make jokes about their profession. And it was interesting, too. There's a few therapists that I have come to know lo these many years that I've been in Petaluma, and hoping to reconnect with them. And they didn't show either. So, 0 for 2. But I met some interesting people there. Okay. Tom Gaffey, the godfather of the Phoenix Theater. I've talked about him before. And let's see. Ralph Scott, who is trying to, or did try to, bring back the Petaluma radio players after the COVID-19 has gone away. And I'll keep you updated on whether he's successful or not. It doesn't look good right now, honestly. He is a recorder of audio books, and he has some audio thespians on his to-call list to help him with his recordings. And it's called Squeaky Cheese Productions, LLC. Okay, more shout-outs. Art Kuznets and Rabbi Ted Feldman. Rabbi Ted is retired now, and he was the rabbi at B'nai Israel. And my late wife was Jewish, and she and I would go to events and dinners at B'nai Israel. And so I'm sort of cognizant about some of the beliefs and practices of Judaism. And okay, it's my belief that their beliefs and practices are just as silly as Christianity and Islam. And oh God, I've said it before that all religions are misogynistic and just silly. Okay. And let's see, Tom and Nancy locally, Kevin and Lori. See you next week, Kevin. I'll have the steaks. You do the barbecuing. Dave and Rosita Takach. Rich and Kathy Berger in Sebastopol. Dennis and Megan in Tiburon. Yvonne and Rick in San Francisco. Stan and Kathy in Pacifica. He's the retired city attorney of Daly City, one of the smartest guys I've ever met. Okay. Aunt Jackie and her 2 daughters, Samantha and Melanie, my brother Brandon and his wife Mina in Arizona, the Santan Valley area, and their daughter, Andrea. Brain freezes. You gotta love them. Okay, Andrea's a nurse, and she's living in the Santan Valley area with her husband, a retired Marine, Booyah, Tim, and their 3 little boys. Okay, and Karina Hilliard, the animal control officer of Patagonia, Arizona. I think Patagonia is down on the southwest corner of Arizona, I believe. Yeah, could be wrong. However, the Midnight Skeptic is rarely ever wrong. Okay. Arkansas, Shannon Reed. Florida, Nelson and Alice Lydell. He is a retired United States Public Health Service officer. And they have uniforms that look very similar to Navy uniforms. And, I've seen him in his, I think he got out of it, retired as a captain, a fourth striper on your sleeve. And there's a picture of him that I've seen, and boy, he looks like a Navy captain. But it's United States Public Health Service. And his specialty was breathing masks and breathing apparatuses, which came in handy during the COVID-19 outbreak because he was called to testify in various court cases and, studies about how effective breathing masks were. I got a sip. Okay, when the throat starts to go, gotta take that sip. Okay, and still in Florida, Amelia Beamer, who is associated with Locus magazine over in Oakland, Locus. They review books in the three genres: science fiction, horror, and fantasy. Okay, and she'll go on YouTube and let you know which books they're going to review that month. Okay. Dr. Dave Rubin, the world's finest pulmonary physician in the Raleigh-Durham area, and he is retired now. Actually, he retired from GlaxoSmithKline. He set up a lot of their studies and to find out which medicines work, which don't, which have unacceptable side effects. That was his thing with GlaxoSmithKline. And now he's pursuing his artistic talents. So check him out, daverubinpainting.org. It could be .com. I'm not sure which. Okay, but check him out. He has a very unique take on reality. Okay, back to the West Coast, up to Sonora. Robert Finnegan, Bob and Sandy Fisher and their two kids, Brad and Martha. Darrell Larson, Sonora High's bronc rider. Judy May, Kathy Francis, Lynn Quayle. I'm not sure whether Lynn is in Manhattan or back in Sonora. She has to spend at least 6 months in Manhattan because she owns a rent-controlled apartment back there. Okay. Up Highway 108 toward Twain Harte, John Gleason and his two daughters, Tiffany and Jennifer. I'm not sure where they're living now, but they listen occasionally, as do all of these other people that I give a shout out to. And then all the way down in Mexico City, Rosamalia Lopez Negrete. Okay, here is the meat of the rant for this week. Okay, a book recommendation. I will do this every weekly rant now. Okay, because it's been, it's been received positively. Okay, the book in question is a children's book called Dim Sum for Everyone. Okay, and it's a book about food and the characters. It's a children's book, and it's illustrated. I'm not quite sure who for, who by. Grace Lynn, Lin, is the lady that wrote this book, and I'm not sure who illustrated it, but there are no white or Caucasian characters in it. And I think For that reason, it was banned in some places in Florida. Oh, God. That's another reason why all Republicans, MAGA heads, Christian nationalists, and especially the orange sociopathic bloat bag should be voted out of office this November. And we can stop with this book banning nonsense. All right? And I have not read this book, but I saw it online by this guy who has started up an online presence doing this, showing people books and titles of books, especially children's books that have been banned. Okay. All right. And, Moms for Liberty. Maybe they too will just go away after this November's election has shown that none of these right-wing nuts are worthy of our votes. Another sip. Okay, bad news. The percentage of Republicans who view childhood vaccinations as important is dropping rapidly. From 55% in 2019, at the height of the, well, it wasn't the height, right before the COVID-19 outbreak. That was 2019. And it's down to 26% now. And this is according to Gallup polling. The orange sociopathic bloat bag and creepy Christians, they have had, excuse me, an anti-science and expertise effect on this country. The lack of trust in education, in scientists, and medical people have just gone down amongst Republicans. Okay, and 26% now think, and this is amongst Republicans, 26% now think it's important to get your kids vaccinated before they go to school. It's just, they have ruined that aspect of our country. Just public health. Okay. New topic. Bad news. We have, meaning this country, we have let the plastics industry define what the word recyclable means to the planet's detriment. No system exists to recycle plastic bags. Many states and localities have just banned them. The plastics industry and the oil and gas giants in the industry, like ExxonMobil, are working to make the public feel okay about using plastic bags again. Okay, now I've talked about this topic not recently, but a couple of months ago. Pyrolysis. PYROLYSIS is the plastics and oil and gas industry's term for recycling plastics, not just plastic bags, but all sorts of plastics. It's a high heat, kind of like melting down. I'm not a chemist, but I've looked this up, and I encourage all my listeners, if you have a concern about the amount of plastics in our system, and if you're concerned about how evil the plastics and oil and gas industries are, look up pyrolysis. It's a term that they're trying to foist off on us because it sounds good, and that we won't wake up to the fact that plastics, almost all plastics, are just not recyclable. Their efforts to convince consumers in this country that the plastics that they all use won't hurt the environment if we just recycle everything. And it's not true. Those single-use plastic drinking bottles with water, on the bottom, you'll see the chasing arrows with a number inside, and numbers 1 and 2 technically are recyclable. And the plastics industry encourages consumers to help the planet recycle these bottles, and only about 6 or 7% of those types of containers actually get recycled. We're, not to be a Debbie Downer, but we're losing the battle. All right. Off on a hopefully better news segment. Okay, good Swiftie news. Republicans and the orange sociopathic bloat bag have tried to suggest through AI and other altered photos that Taylor Swift has endorsed the orange sociopathic bloat bag for president. She has not endorsed anyone. And I salute her for this. She has stayed out of the coming presidential election so far. She might change her mind. She might endorse somebody, but certainly not the orange sociopathic bloat bag. And I'm not, I guess the Republicans think that Kid Rock's endorsement is just not enough to draw voters to the orange sociopathic bloat bag. And I'm not a Swiftie. I like her, and I wouldn't be able to recognize any of her songs if I heard one. But I've seen interviews with her online, and she is an extremely intelligent and woman, and a good businesswoman, and she runs her own, I guess, more than $1 billion recording industry for herself. I don't know if there are other recording artists that she works with or represents, but I applaud her. Um, I remember a 60-minute segment of about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even more, when she was just starting out in the country music industry, and I think it was in Nashville. And I forget which 60-minute correspondent was interviewing this guy who was knowledgeable about the recording industry when she decided to do everything for herself on her own, and guys who control the industry be damned. Just she's going to do it herself. And she was successful at recording her own music, controlling her own recordings, and I applaud her for that. The younger generation, which means millennials and Generation Z, are growing more and more progressive. Uh, I don't mean they're changing their ideas. They're just, they are that way, progressive and rather liberal and socially liberal, and which is a good thing because that moves the whole public toward, I, I don't know, wokeness, I guess. Yeah, I'm woke. And to me, that means it's not a smear, it's not a put down. It means that somebody is accepting and loving of as many people as they know. And nobody who is, part of the LGBTQ community should be put down, or laws should be passed against their attempts to just live their lives happily. That's what wokeness means to me, and I am that way. I am proudly woke. Okay? All right. More good news, maybe. Women in the excuse me. I warned you at the start of this rant that I would be having to clear my throat. Well, here it is. Good news, maybe. Women in the United States are having fewer babies, about 68,000 fewer than the year before. In 2023, the fertility rate dropped another 3%. Boy, I'd better hurry up here. Dropped another 3% from 2022. In 2007, the fertility rate was at its highest in this country. Women are waiting longer to both get married and to have children. The birth rate was highest among women 30 to 24. J.D. Vance, the orange sociopathic bloatbag's lapdog, be damned. He's famous for saying that this country is ruled by childless women who are cat ladies. I'm not sure if that's an exact quote, but that was what he said. And, well, okay, this kind of bears him out that more and more women are just not having kids, or at least waiting a long time. And he is such a doofus that my notes are a bit J.D. Vance, the orange sympathetic bloat bags, lapdog be damned. Okay. Oh, low teen birth rate, which Christian nationalists all emote over. Teens are getting pregnant. You shouldn't have pregnant until you get married. And rah, 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 rah. Okay. Um, it has dropped to its lowest point in a long time. 13 per 1,000 teens between 15 and 19 is the current teen birth rate. And I don't know, maybe those teenage girls are, I'm going to be snarky here, but maybe most of them are Mormons. Okay, that's my snark about the Mormon religion. Real good news. Social psychologist Sarah Konrath, Konrath, has noted a rising level of empathy among young people. That empathy is the ability to imagine others' viewpoints and have a concern for them. Generation Z were primarily the ones studied by her. High school, which are high school and college students now. Keep it up, Gen Zers. You will not grow up to be Republicans. More good news. Randy Rainbow. And, okay, I've recommended that my listeners and viewers and everything go Google Randy Rainbow, Kamala. And he recorded this song. It's kind of a, well, it's not a serious song. It's a funny song about Kamala Harris. But it was recorded when she and Joe Biden were nominated in the 2000 election. But it's funny. And so, anyway, that's Randy Rainbow. And he's won the Making a Difference Award from the Matthew Shepard Foundation. Okay, 25 years ago, Matthew Shepard, a 21-year-old student, I guess the University of Wyoming, and he was gay, and he was, I think, in Laramie, downtown Laramie. He was murdered by two guys who, I don't know who these two guys were, and I don't know if they've been released from prison yet. I think they drew life sentences, but they murdered him, and I don't know the circumstances, why they did it. I guess out of homosexual panic, as it's been called sometimes. Maybe he tried to pick up on him. I don't know. But they left him tied to a fence out in the wilderness somewhere. He died, and his parents, Matthew Shepard's parents, have set up this Matthew Shepard Foundation. And it's been 25 years ago. And Randy Rainbow won this year's Making a Difference Award. And good for Randy Rainbow. His acceptance speech is online. Look it up. You'll be impressed by his speech. He's an intelligent guy. A good book recommendation. Okay. of course, it was banned. Okay. The title of this book is It Feels Good to Be Yourself by Teresa Tomed. I think that's how she pronounces her last name, Thomed. It was specifically banned in Broward County, Florida. It was illustrated by Noah Grigney, and it was all about gender identity. Of course it would be banned in Florida. You can't be yourself, says Republicans. And the Mothers for Liberty, we'll tell you what you can be and what you can't be and what yourself should be. Those are the types of people that we want to get rid of this November. All right. Ranting is actually kind of fun. Okay. Horrible news. American Patriots, 3%, that's their title, is a militia group, and they're far right wing, that has emerged after the January 6th insurrection as the largest militia in the U.S. Many police officers and active duty military personnel are members. They should be weeded out, meeting the police officers. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. Okay, good news to end the show. At the UK's Paighton Zoo, capital P-A-I-G-H-T-O-N Zoo, in southwest England, 2 male flamingos have paired up to hatch and raise a flamingo chick. Arthur and Curtis feed them and groom the chicks, and the chick hasn't been named yet. The 2 males pairing is rare, but not unexpected. So, that ends the show, and I will be back at you next week with another rant. And remember, be kind, be woke, and here's my play-out music. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats.